Hello everyone and welcome to Bedside Tabletop, and this morning we are going to be playing Coffee Roaster, designed by Saashi and published by Saashi and Saashi. However, the version we'll be playing is the Stronghold Games printing. Now, Coffee Roaster is a bag building game about blending coffee. You are going to be putting beans into this bag, which represents a coffee roaster, and you're going to be roasting those beans incrementally until you feel like they're just right. Then you'll be pouring all your coffee out into a cup, and you will be scored on how well you brewed it. It's been a long time since I played this game, and I was going to do a bigger game for this video originally, but I'm kind of feeling smaller right now, so I felt this would be a perfect time to get this one played. So without further ado, we're going to go into a quick overview of the game, and then we are going to jump right in. Alright, and then here we are at the table. As you can see, it's a relatively low footprint game. You've got your game board, you've got your scoring board, you've got your player aids, your bag, and of course you got to set aside this box right here with all of the bean chits. Now, there are two ways to play this game. You can simply play one roast of coffee and score that to see how well you do, or you can do 3 roasts in a row. Basically, what happens is there are 3 different tiers of coffee. You brew the first tier, and depending on how well you do, that's going to determine what cup of coffee you brew next. You do that 3 times and then add up your score, which you do on this little piece of paper. And as you can see, I haven't played this game since 2021, so it's been sitting on the shelf a little bit, which is why I wanted to get it played so badly today. But today we are going to be doing a single cup of coffee. We aren't going to be brewing 3 cups. Now, before I explain how the game plays, we first have to set up our cup of coffee, and we've got the instructions right here on this card. So we're going to be brewing a cup of coffee from Cuba. It's going to be called the Sierra Maestra. Now, this top part right here shows you what you are going to be putting into your bag at the start of the game, and then this part right here tells us what roast level we want to get to and what we need in our coffee in order to score the most points. The general gist of the game is you are going to be placing beans inside of your coffee roaster, and each round you're going to be pulling some of them out, and at the end of the round all the beans that are numerical are going to roast, so they're going to go 1 step higher. So for example, that 2 would turn into a 3. And then you can stop roasting whenever you want, but at that point you're going to start pulling beans out of your bag, and they will go into these spaces on this cup from left to right, top to bottom, like so right there. And then at the end of the game, you're going to be scored on your criteria based on what's inside this cup. And the biggest way to score is you're going to count the face value of all the beans in the cup, sum them together, and then you're going to compare it to this chart. So for example, if we had a total of 14, no more, no less inside the cup, then we get the most points, 10 points right there. And then there are also these colored tokens right here, which are called flavor tokens, and we're going to be judged on those too. As you can see, the Sierra Maestra right here requires us to have 1 of each inside of this cup at the end of the game. And this reference card will show us how many points we get for that. So if we have all 3 matching inside the cup, we gain 6 points. And then this little tag right here is going to tell you if it's a beginner, a moderate, or an expert roast. And since we haven't played this game in 3 years, we're going to go with the beginner roast. Alright, let's go ahead and set up our coffee roaster by throwing the initial beans inside. First up, we are going to put 14 0 value beans inside of our bag. And we've got our chit tray right here, so 14 of these guys. Now, needless to say, this part of the setup is crucial. You have to get this number right, so just make sure that when you lay everything out, you are double counting it when it's going into the bag. 14 0 value beans, and they are going into the bag. Next up, we are going to put 2 moisture tokens into the bag, 1 defective bean, and 2 hard beans. We got the hard beans right here, and anytime a chit has this X symbol in it, that means that if it ends up in your cup at the end of the game, it's going to count negative points against you based on how many of those you've got in your cup. So as you can see, if we have hard beans in our cup, we lose 1 point for each of those in there. Ugh. So they go into the bag like that. Then we've got the defective bean and the 2 moisture tokens. In they go. And then let's go ahead and put our flavor tokens in. So 2 red tokens, 3 green tokens, and 2 blue tokens. Now thematically in the game, these tokens represent the flavor of the coffee. The red represents the body of the coffee. The green represents the acidity, and the blue represents the aroma. But for this playthrough, I'm just going to be calling it red, green, and blue, because there's no way that I'm going to remember that. But anyway, let's put 2 red, 3 green, and 2 blue. Alright, 2 red, 3 green, and 2 blue. Let's just throw those in like that. And we are done building our bag. And again, we want to have one of each of those colors inside of our cup at the end of the game. And then the final part of the setup is you are going to be determining where you are going to start on the coffee roasting track. And this image shows you right here, but you can also tell by how many moisture tokens are going into your bag. So we've got 2 of those. And on the track right here, the number 2 moisture token spot is right there. So we're going to start on spot 9. But again, you can look at the card and it will tell you start on spot 9 right there. Now there are 2 sides to this main board right here. There's the easier side and then the harder side. Just make sure that whatever side you're playing on, you match the symbols on this top board and this bottom board right here so that they are the same. And the difference between the easier side and the harder side is on the easier side you have more spaces where you can trash beans before you have to place them into your cup. And then you also have less of these smoke tokens. So on the harder side, you put 2 smoke tokens on this spot right here, and then 3 smoke tokens on that spot right there. And again, those have the red X, so they are going to be worth negative points if they end up in your cup at the end of the game. You also have this little cube right here. It's the roast tracker. Basically, it's used to track what the total roast of the beans in your bag is. Right now, it's set at 0 because we don't have any beans that are valued higher than 0. We just have 0 value beans, and then defective and hard beans are worth 0 in of themselves. And then this main board right here is going to have some setup too. Basically, there's this wild flavor token right here. Make sure you place it on this spot right next to the 0 and the 1. And then these 5 spaces right here are cup effects. Basically, we place the flavor tokens out here, and if we place 2 of them next to a cup effect, then this is going to go into our cup, and they give us special powers. But to set up the game, just make sure you shuffle these 5 tiles and then place them out randomly in these spaces right here. This is one of the bigger differences between the Saashi and Saashi version of the game and the Stronghold version of the game. In the Saashi and Saashi version, these powers are printed straight onto the board, but Stronghold allows for a little more variation where you can mix these up and get different results. But with that part of setup done, we are all ready to go. Let's go ahead and mix up our bag. How a round works in this game is wherever this red tracker is, you're going to draw a number of chips from the bag, and then you can place them out on the main board for special effects, or you can keep them in the area where you drew them, and at the end of the round, they are going to all roast. They will go up numerically, as I showed you earlier. Now, when you draw flavor tokens, these guys never roast at the end of the round. However, you can use them as special powers, and then to unlock the cup effects, and also do some immediate effects on the board. Now, the general rule of the game is when you go to place flavor tokens, if you want to use both immediate effects and then the flavor effects, which are on this side of the board, you must do the immediate effects first, and then you can start playing these for flavor effects. Sounds a little weird? Don't worry, you'll get it as the game goes along. But this is one of the biggest points of contention that I have with this rulebook right here. You can go on BGG, a lot of people have questions about it. When you play a flavor token on the immediate effects side of the board right here, you do not use the flavor token's power. The only time you use the flavor token's power is when you place it on this side of the board right here. And when you use the flavor effect of one of these tokens, you can place it anywhere on these spots, so you don't have to place them left to right in a row per se. But you always have to be able to use the token's specific effect in order to place it on this area of the board right here. So you can't just place flavor tokens that you can't use the effect of in order to unlock these cup effects. So we're going to hammer that point in during the playthrough, but when you are playing for yourself, make sure you keep that rule in mind, because nowhere in this rule book does it even say it, and that is a really big failing on the game's part. But that is how the general board play works. Immediate effects first, and then flavor effects after that, and if you match 2 in a row, then you are going to be able to unlock that cup effect for the end of the game. You also have the wild token up here. You can use the wild token for its effects if you've unlocked it, but you must unlock it first by placing a 0 value bean and then a 1 value bean right there. Okay, and we are done with the overview. Coffee Roaster is one of the games where you just kind of have to play it first in order to completely get it. It's not terribly complex, it's just a little funky. So we're gonna start off our first roasting round. Our token is right here, and we are going to draw 9 tokens from the bag. So we're gonna give this bag a quick shuffle and then start drawing out 9 beans. Alright, there we go, 9 beans right there. Now if there are any moisture tokens, you're going to remove them from the game immediately. You are simply going to place them back into the box. They don't really affect much, they basically just act as dead draws. Now we can use these beans for their effects, and we can also hold beans so they can be roasted at the end of the round. Immediately what I want to do is I want to get closer to unlocking this wild flavor token, so I'm going to spend a 0 bean right now and place it on the 0 spot right there, and hopefully next round we'll place a 1 spot and gain the wild flavor token. Since we want to have 1 of each in our cup at the end of the game, I want to make sure that I fulfill that goal well enough. Alright, which means there's nothing else for these 0 beans to do, so we're just not going to use them, and at the end of the round they're all going to become 1 beans. We do have 3 flavor tokens we can play with, 1 of each, so let's see here. Do we want to do anything with them? Now these immediate effects right here, let's go over what each of them does. For this immediate effect, you place a red flavor token and you simply draw 2 beans out of the bag and add them to your pool. This one you can place any flavor token. You take 2 beans from your pool, place them back into the bag, shuffle the bag up, and then draw 2 beans from the bag into your pool. This one requires a blue flavor token. For this one, you draw 5 beans, keep them separate from your pool. You're going to return 3 of them into the bag, and then you're going to permanently discard 2 of them. And then this spot allows you to place any flavor token, and it allows you to discard any smoke, burnt bean, or rotten bean that's within your pool. So right now I want to get a head start on roasting, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to use this red flavor token, and I'm going to place it on the first immediate effect right here. Now normally when you place flavor tokens, you must be able to use their power. However, again, the immediate effects don't follow that rule. You're never going to play a flavor token for its power on the immediate effects side. But let's go over the red token's power. The red token's power allows you to combine 2 beans from your pool into 1 bean. An example of that would be, say we had drawn 2 beans into our pool. When we played this red flavor token, we could then combine these 2 beans into 1 4 bean. And this 4 bean would immediately go into our bag. It wouldn't stay in our pool. And then the 2 beans right here would be discarded into the box. But again, we're not playing this flavor token for its effect. We're playing it for an immediate effect. And again, that is draw 2 beans from your bag and add it to the pool for this round. Alright, let's shake it up and see what we get. Bam! We get another blue flavor token and 1 more 0 bean. Alright, that's good because that means 1 extra bean from our bag is going to get roasted at the end of this round. Originally for this playthrough I was going to make coffee, but then I got lazy, so ironically I'm drinking unsweetened tea from Burger King. But anyway, I'm going to choose to end this round and roast everything that we've got here. So again, flavor tokens, they don't roast, we'll just put them off to the side, but all of these 0 tokens are going to roast, and they're going to roast to the next level up. So we'll go ahead and roast these guys. They'll go back into the box, and then we'll take out 5 of these ones. And then everything out here is going to go into our bag. Again, just make sure you double count so you're not making any mistakes. Alright, we're good. So this is all going to go into our bag right here. Now, since we had 5 1 beans added to our bag, that means that the roast level of our bag goes up. Now, inside of our cup at the end of the game, we want a value of 14. That will get us 10 points. And we're definitely not there yet. So I do think that we aren't going to stop and put beans in our cup. We're going to continue to the next round. And basically you keep doing roasting rounds until either you choose to stop and then start placing stuff in your cup, or you reach round 14 and you finish it, then you must be putting beans inside of your cup. So let us continue on. We're going to go into round 10. And that means that we have to put these 2 smoke tokens tokens inside of our roasting bag, which sucks. And now it's time to draw some beans. So we will be drawing 10 beans this round. That's a lot of beans. Man, there really is something inherently exciting about drawing random stuff from a bag. I don't know what it is. This is our spread of 10 beans right here. We have a moisture token, so we're going to put that back into the box like so. And then this is what we have to work with. So immediately we pulled a 1 bean, which is good because I want to unlock that wild flavor token. We'll go ahead and grab that, and that gets added into our bag. Alright, now I think is a good time to go over the cup effect tokens. So this token right here is going to be the selection token. When you unlock it, it goes right here on this cup area, and for these 2 spots, when you're drawing beans from your bag, you draw 2 beans, and then you pick one to put in each spot. So that's a handy one to have. This honeycomb symbol goes right here. It takes up a bean slot. It doesn't have any inherent power. However, some coffees require you to have that honey token in the bottom right of the coffee card. So it is a separate requirement that you have to pick up for some coffees. This token right here is called exchange. It goes on the bottom right of the cup. Once you've filled up all the spaces of this cup right here with beans, you get to take 2 of them out, put them back in your bag, and then you get to draw 3 tokens from the bag and replace those 2 spaces right there. But you must always replace 2 beans. You may never replace just 1. So that is the exchange token. This 3 token is very straightforward. You place it right here, and you have a value of 3 added to your cup. So if you have lesser value beans, this one is instrumental into getting that target number. And then this token right here doesn't go into your cup. It goes right here, and it unlocks an extra plate. Now, what these plates do is when you're drawing beans from the bag that go into the cup, if you don't want them going into the cup, you can place them onto these plate areas right here. This one too, if you've unlocked this token. So for example, if you pull a burnt bean and don't want that going into your cup, you can choose to place it on one of these spots here instead of placing it there. But make sure you place wisely, because especially on the harder side of the board, you can only unlock a maximum of 5 of those spaces. So that is what the cardboard tray token is good for. Right now, however, I don't think we really want to do much. We don't really have a good grasp on what our bag is looking like. So I think we're just going to keep the flavor tokens. We're not going to use them, and we're just going to roast everything that we have here. Now the hard bean right here, even though it is worth negative points, it does roast into a 0 bean when you go onto the roasting phase of the round. And no, you may not pick and choose which beans to roast. You must roast everything that is legal in your bean pool. So these 5 0 beans are going to turn into 5 1 beans, and this hard bean right here is going to turn into a 0 bean. We'll go ahead and do that exchange right now, and then 5 of these guys right here are going to be 5 1 beans. Alright, let's scoop these puppies up and place them all into our bag. Now the hard bean turned into a 0 bean, which doesn't increase our roast, but we did gain 5 new 1 beans. So we are going to go up to a roast level of 10. However, the individual beans themselves are only level 1, so they're weak. So if we did go on a cup placement, there are only 10 spaces on this cup. We'd only be able to get a maximum of 10 points in here if we were lucky enough to place all our 1 beans, and a level of 10 in the cup doesn't even net us any points. So yeah, we want to get over that 11 threshold. And with that, we are done with that round of roasting. We'll move on to the next round, and this round we are pulling 11 beans out of our bag. So let's shake it up and let's get those 11 beans. Alright, we got some 1s, which is pretty good. Okay, we got our wild flavor token. Don't know if I want to use that. And then our last draw is another 1. This round we've got a little more to work with than the last round. Now I don't see any immediate effects that I want to use right now, but let's take a look at the flavor effects out here. I think what I want to go for is this extra cardboard tray space right here, since we've only got 3 beans that we can discard when it comes to the cup testing phase. So we're going to use one of these flavor tokens to help unlock this guy, and we're going to be using a green flavor token. Now again, if you place a token in this area, you must be able to use its power, and we can use the green flavor token's power. So the power of the green flavor token is preservation. You can take 1 bean from any bean in your pool, and you immediately place it back into the bag. In this case, I'm going to preserve a 1 bean right here. So the 1 bean is going back into the coffee roaster bag like so. And we are 1 step closer to achieving activating that cardboard tray. Now we could unlock it right now by placing the wild flavor token onto the wild spot right there, but I don't want to use this guy just yet. I'm more so saving him for the cup. And we can't use a blue flavor token to unlock it because the blue's power is it breaks down a bean in your pool into 2 separate beans that then go into your bag. For example, if you pulled a 2 bean, you could break it down into 2 1 beans. These go into your bag and this gets discarded from the game. But seeing in our pool we only have 1 beans and you can't break them down into 0.5 beans. So yeah, we cannot use this flavor power. So I think what's going to happen is we're just going to start roasting stuff. So put these guys off to the side for now. These 2 0 beans are going to become 2 1 beans, like that. Let's just make sure we distinguish them from the actual 1 beans that we pulled. And then these 1 beans are going to become 2 beans. So 4 of those back into the box, and then we'll take 4 of these guys right here. And then it's all going to go back into the roasting bag. That means the total roast level in the bag just increased by 6 because we got 2 1 beans and then 4 2 beans. So we're going to move from the 10 space to the 16 space. Now we do have a total roast level of 16 and we do want 14 for the cup. That does seem kind of achievable, but I don't think we want to start pouring into our cup right now because we still have a couple dud beans in there that I want to get rid of. So we will continue the roast and move on to the 12 round, although I suspect it's going to be our final round. And unfortunately on this round we gain 3 more smoke tokens that go into our bag. However, we are drawing more beans, so hopefully we have more to work with. We are going to be drawing 12 beans this round. Alright, so let's start drawing. We got 1, 2, 11, 12. Oh man, we have a lot of dud beans out here, don't we? But you know what? It's actually not bad that we drew a lot of crappy beans right here, and I'll show you why right now. And why it's not bad is because we have this immediate effect right here. We can place any flavor token on this spot right here, and this effect gets rid of every single smoke, hard, or burnt bean that you have drawn into your pool. So we are definitely going to use this effect because it's going to make our bag total even more powerful. Now the question is, do we want to use our wild flavor token or do we want to use our red flavor token? I mean, to be quite honest, they are both worth the same value to me since the wild token can double as a red flavor token. Let's use the red flavor token to activate that immediate power right there. Again, you don't use its flavor effect when you're doing immediate powers, and you must do immediate powers before you use flavor powers. But let's execute this immediate power, and that is again, remove all smoke, burnt, and hard beans that you drew into your pool. And yes, that is why we are so lucky to have drawn this, because not only do we get to remove all of these from our bag, which means that we have less crappy beans in our bag, but we also don't have to spend another round roasting in order to get rid of more of these. So that actually worked out pretty well in our favor. Alright, but now I've got a dilemma. I want this round to be the last round that I roast, because I don't want to overdo the roast level in our bag, because I want to get it just right for the Sierra Maestra. I want 14 in my cup. However, I did want to unlock the tray, but I only have the other wild flavor token in my pool. And if I use this wild flavor token, I won't be able to get all 3 flavors in that cup, and thus I wouldn't be able to get the maximum amount of points I could be getting from that cup. I would be getting 3 instead if I was even lucky enough to pull them and have them inside of my cup. So maybe I do want to do another level of roasting just so I can unlock this extra cardboard tray? Or do I just eschew the points right now and use the wild bean in this spot right here and then grab that cardboard tray? Because I mean, losing out on 3 points is pretty big, but these points are worth a lot more. I think I'm going to do it. I think I'm going to use the wild token. I'm going to play it on the flavor effects side of the board, and I'm going to unlock the cardboard tray cup effect. Now, when we place the wild token on this spot, we must use the wild token as any flavor effect, because again, you can only place here if you can use the flavor effect of the token you're placing. What I'm going to do, looking at my smattering of beans right here, is I'm going to use the red token effect for the wild token. So I'm going to place that right here. I just unlocked this cup effect. It's going to go in this spot right here, and now we can use this cardboard tray at the end of the game. And again, the red token's effect is combine 2 beans in in your pool into one larger bean, and then place that bean into your bag. So what we're going to do is we're going to take 2 1 beans right here, and we're going to exchange those for 1 2 bean, and that 2 bean goes straight into our roasting bag. So it's not going to get roasted this round, it won't go to a level 3 bean. And you might be wondering, well, why don't you want to get your beans to the highest possible? Well, again, you've got that target score that you want to get perfectly in the game, but if you go too high, you run the risk of burning your beans. So for example, a 4 bean, if it roasts one more level, gets turned into a burnt bean. And again, those are negative points at the end of the game. So you don't want to be willy-nilly with your roasting, you want to be a little more deliberate, even though this game has a decent handful of luck. Alright, but with that, we are going to close out this round and roast everything that we have left in our pool. So we've got 1 hard bean, that roasts into a 0 bean. Throw that guy into the bag right there. Then we've got a 1 and a 0 bean, those roast into a 2 and a 1 bean respectively. And we've got the 2 and the 1 right there, and that gets plopped into our bag, which means our roast level goes up by 2 this round. So we move from 16 to 18. Alright, and since a roast level of 14 gets us the most points in this game, I think we are going to stop our roasting process. So we're not going to do another round of roasting. We are simply going to start pouring our cup of coffee. And this is definitely the most exciting and nerve-wracking part of the game, because it's not like you had much control over what you did before, but now you really don't have much control over what you can do, unless you unlocked tons of those cup effects. But we didn't really start out with a lot of flavor beans in our bag, so we didn't get to do a lot of that. Okay, now we're gonna pour out stuff from our bag into this cup right here. Now we have 2 options. We continually draw beans, and when we draw a bean, we can put it in the leftmost space on the cup area, or we can place it in one of these cardboard trays right here. Again, you have 5 spots on these cardboard trays, which means you have 5 chances to discard stuff so it doesn't go into the cup. And again, we want a roast level of 14. So we want our beans in this cup to have a face value of exactly 14. Alright, let's shake it up and let's start drawing. Alright, we drew a blue flavor token. Now we do want one of those in our cup at the end of the game, so we're going to go ahead and place it right out there. Alright, next up, what do we get? We have another blue token. Well, we don't want 2 of those in our cup, we just want 1. So we're going to use one of our slots on these cardboard trays, and we're going to set that bean aside. People say this game is really thematic. I'm not sure how thematic this part is. Imagine seeing your barista behind the bar at Starbucks just fishing beans out of your coffee with their bare hand. You're like, yes, I just saw you fish out several pieces and chunks of beans from my coffee, so apparently you didn't filter it. But yeah, I mean, it smells and looks good, so perfect score. Alright, but let's draw our next bean, and this is a 2 bean, and we definitely want this inside of our cup, so we're going to place it in that spot there. Then we draw another 2 bean. Wonderful. Let's put that right there. Alright, the next bean. We have a 1 bean. Now I know we've got tons of these little guys in our bag, so discarding it wouldn't be that bad, and I really want to weed out the 2s into our cup before we are forced to place the 1s, so I think we're going to go ahead and discard this bean right there. Alright, next draw. Now if we had unlocked this cup effect right here, we would have been able to draw 2 beans and then place the better one in these spots right there, and the other goes back in the bag, but we didn't really have enough flavor tokens to play around with that. So we're just going to draw 1 and see what happens. Alright, another 1 bean. I'm listening to my gut, and my gut says don't place it, so we're going to put it off to there. Now we only have 2 more beans that we can discard before we're forced to place it all into here. Alright, next up, what do we have? We have a 0 bean. Ooh, that sucks. I guess we really want to put that off to the side. Okay, please, give us something good. Ah, smoke token. Okay, we're definitely not putting that in our cup. Alright, and now we're at the mercy of the bag. We must place whatever we draw into these spaces right here. So, we've got a 2. Okay, not too bad. Haha, get it? Not too bad? Whatever. Alright, next up, we have another 2. Okay. That is better. So we've got a total of 8 roast points in our cup right here. That's still not enough to score us any points on the track. Hopefully we can get that green flavor token. Ah, there it is. So we'll place it in the cup. Alright, let's draw something big, please. Another green flavor token. Man, Okay, something good, something good. 0, no. Okay, come on, let's draw. A 1, no, come on. That means that we have to draw a 2 into our cup if we even want to score any points this game. And no, of course, we draw a 1. That goes into the cup right there. That sucks because look at what we had remaining in our bag. We could have gotten those 2s out. And if we just got these 2s out instead of that stupid green flavor token and that 0 token, we would have exactly reached that 14 roast point score and gotten those 10 points. But instead we suffer a worse fate now because we didn't even score any points on the roast point track for the Sierra Maestra because our cup only adds up to a total of 10 roast points. And the saddest part is if we put those 1s into our cup instead of placing it off to the side, we could have then placed off to the side the worst beans in the bag. Okay, well, cut me some slack. It has been 3 years since I've played this game. Okay, but right now we are simply going to go on to scoring our cup, which is where the handy-dandy scoring player aid comes in. So first up, you're going to score your roast points. Well, the Sierra Maestra only gives out roast points for a score between 11 and 18. And again, we only have 2, 4, 6, 8, 10 roast points in our cup. So we get a total of nothing for that. We'll just put a big old 0 right there. And then our next one, we are going to score for flavor points. Right here you get points for how well you matched the flavor points requirement on the card. So if we matched all 3 of these, we would have gotten 6 points. And we do have 3 flavor tokens in our cup, but only 2 of them match the flavor tokens that we needed in the coffee. So we're only going to score for 2 of them right here, which means we gain 3 points. So we'll add 3 to our current total of 0. Then we are going to score for skill points. Now this is something I didn't talk about earlier. Skill points basically means you add up all of the beans of 1 face value in your cup and you score for how many of those you have. So our most common bean in the cup is going to be the 2 bean. We've got 4 of those. So if we look at the skill points chart, 4 beans of the same type means we gain 2 points. So we're going to add that to our current score. And then there are the minus points. So if you didn't match any of the flavor tokens that is required for the coffee, then you actually lose 3 points. However, we did match 2, so we're not losing anything over that. Then we would lose 1 point for each burnt, smoke, and hard bean that's in our cup, but we did our best to avoid having that in there, so we aren't going to lose points for that. Then if we had rotten beans in our cup, we'd lose 2 points, which that one's pretty thematic. You don't want rotten beans to be in your poop-colored, rubber-tasting, caffeine-loaded beverage. And then if you didn't fill all the spaces of your cup, you would lose 5 points, which is shown by this spot right there. However, we did have enough beans to fill all 10 spaces on our cup. So yay, good for us. We don't lose any minus points, which means we have a grand total of, yippee, 5 points. Oh my god. Well, hey, I thought my planning actually was pretty decent for this game. It was just the fact that the beans didn't come out in the way that I wanted them to. Because I totally could have gotten that sweet spot for the roast points, but oh well. This game is a bag building game. When you play it, you do have to kind of take in the fact that you are going to be pressing your luck most of the time. Even though the game does give you a decent amount of agency over what you can do on your rounds and what you can do to speculate exactly what's inside of your bag. And the game also does suggest that when you roast beans in a round, you put the previously roasted beans back onto the coffee card so you know exactly what has been taken out of your bag. However, I feel like in this game it all came down to the one big mistake of putting these 1s into the cardboard trays and not into the cup. So I guess have a little more faith in the beans on the next play is what the main takeaway from this game is. But even when I was playing this game back in the day, I didn't do too well at it. As you can see the last play, I also got a score of 5 for one of the coffee roasts that I was doing, so it's not much of a fall from grace. But anyway guys, that's all the time that I have this morning. Thank you for tuning in for a nice game of Coffee Roaster. So I hope you guys like this video. If you guys have any thoughts on the game, drop it in the comment section. I might do another one of these because it was pretty quick to do. You can't really get a good sense of Coffee Roaster from just playing one game, but I did just want to get a video out since unfortunately my other video fell through. And then also it's good to go over the lighter, shorter games in the solo sphere. It's not always fun to just play big things all the time. Alright, with that, I'll see you guys in the next video. Again, my name's Richard, this has been Bedside Tabletop, and have a great rest of your day. Also, guys, sun damage is real. Keep your games out of the sun if you don't want them to look like they have a tan line. The game's called Coffee Roaster, not Board Game Box Roaster.